Intentional rest does have a clear goal and it does have a clear purpose or a clear reason. Intentional rest is not damage control, but it is preventing damage control. You don't want to just be doing like damage control rest. You want to actually prevent doing that in the first place. What does damage control rest look like? It's like you have no choice. You're being forced into rest, or you've been running ragged and you have a presentation tomorrow morning and now you have to cancel everything today so that you can actually be in better condition for tomorrow's presentation because you really can't mess that up. And so you have no choice but to clear out your calendar today, so you end up having to cancel last minute on everyone because you have to damage control rest for tomorrow. Intentional rest is also filling your cup on purpose so that it can overflow to others. Intentional rest is also not just about what you're doing now, but it's knowing that you are purposely slowing down now so that you can ramp up later. And then it's knowing where you want your energy to go through the act of resting. It's not only purposely slowing down so that you know you're going to be ramping up later, but then now getting even more specific. Well, where do you want that energy to go specifically? Where do you really want that energy to go later on through the act of resting? Are you bringing it down so that you will have physical energy to go hike a mountain this weekend? Are you purposely slowing down right now because you know you've got your biggest social event of the year where you're gonna have to be on point and present and authentic, and you want to be like your best, shining, overflowing, generous, energetic self? Are you about to like celebrate, your 100th birthday, and you know that you're gonna be greeting 5,000 people and giving out so many hugs? So you know that you want to give that energy towards your hospitality and your gratitude. And so when you really start to think about all of these things, it makes resting easy. Because I know a lot of us struggle to rest. Well, why do you struggle to rest? You struggle to rest because you're not being mindful, because you're doing the most, because you're not being present, because you lack awareness, because you're bypassing. But as soon as you start doing the work, as soon as you start becoming more mindful, as soon as you start becoming more aware, as soon as you start to really think ahead, as soon as you really, really get more and more and more dialed in and tuned in, resting is easy. Intentional rest can be experienced through all 5 layers of the body. Intentional rest first requires awareness of yourself and your 5 layers. Without that awareness, there will be no intention. And that's where the intention work comes in. How do you feel? What do you need? What will you do in order to meet those needs and refill your cup? I think I already mentioned this earlier, but again, just as another reminder, intentional rest isn't just about now, it's about resting for what's coming later. Why do we resist intentional rest? Why do we resist resting? Why do we resist slowing down on purpose? First of all, there's programming. What have you been taught about rest? So obviously, right out the gate, just even with that, me asking you that quick question, I was so surprised to see how many of y'all said lazy. Obviously, we know that's not true, but that programming runs deep. And so this is why, again, you have to be so diligent and intentional about rewiring your programming around that. And that happens through action. Now, the second one is fear. What are you afraid will happen if you rest? This depends on the scenario. All kinds of fears can come up. You might be afraid of sitting out a social event. What are you afraid is going to happen if you rest? Well, what if the guy that I have a crush on is there, right? It could be something as simple as that, or it could be something as big as I'm afraid that if I rest, then I won't get promoted, or my nemesis at work will get the shine instead, or my boss is going to think I'm lazy and pass me up for promotion or opportunity, or I'm going to miss my chance, or blah, 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 blah. And so I want you to really think about that. Just go to these simple questions. What am I afraid is going to happen if I rest? And so if you just ask yourself that question, you might see that maybe there isn't that much there, and maybe the fears that do come up require some deeper digging. Scarcity. This applies in all ways. Scarcity is not just money. Scarcity, it focuses on what you will lose instead of gain. So what are you afraid you're going to miss out on? What are you afraid you're going to lose? Are you going to lose your connection? Are you going to lose friends? Are you going to lose experience? Are you going to lose something by resting instead? Are you going to lose a chance? What chance? What opportunity? That is scarcity thinking. Abundance mindset says there's more where that came from. Full stop, always and forever. Didn't get to go to that experience this time? There will be a million more. What are you afraid you will lose if you rest? Like, is it really a loss? Is it really a loss, or should you actually be focusing on what you can gain, right? Because again, we resist intentional rest because we're not focusing on what we can gain. If you actually intentionally rested, and if you were intentionally resting, you would already know what you are filling your cup up for. You would already know exactly what this rest is actually going to do for you later. But if you don't have that abundance mindset, if you don't think like that, you're only focusing on what you will lose. And it's just another form of survival mode, which if you live like that, are you really free? And then, as I mentioned earlier, lack of awareness. You don't know where you are and where you're going. And this means big and small. You don't know where you're at energetically. You don't know where you're at in life. You don't know how you're feeling. You don't know what you need. You don't know where you're actually trying to go. You don't have vision. So again, when I say you don't know where you are and where you're going, that means micro and macro. That means your intentions for today, and that also means your trajectory, bigger picture, zoom out way of looking at your life as well. And then last but not least, bypassing. You're not doing the work to truly understand your needs. If you are really, really doing the work, then resting is easy. And so you will not intentionally rest if you're not doing the work, because you're not actually truly understanding your needs. You're bypassing, you're just in survival mode, you're going around filling voids, you're doing coping mechanisms, you're giving into your addictions, and on and on and on. I'm not saying that if you understand your needs, you're always going to want to rest. No, of course not. It just means that you'll know how to pace yourself. You'll know when you need to turn it up, turn it down, pull it back, you push it forward, and so forth. So now let's move on and let's move through the 5 layers. Let's get to it. Physical rest. First layer of the body is your physical body. So what is intentional physical rest? Intentionally resting your physical body. This is about giving your literal physical form a break from wear and tear. It's giving your muscles, your bones, your joints a break from the wear and tear that comes from overtraining, being stressed, or just having too much going on. I know sometimes you might think, oh, but I haven't really been working out. Is my physical body taxed? And it's like, well, actually being under high stress is really hard on your physical body as well. So sometimes you need to do intentional resting exercise. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to lay there. Sometimes physical intentional rest can look like you going for a walk. You need to physically rest your body. Your brain is sending too much cortisol, too much stress through your body. Your heart rate's been up. Your heart is literally overworked because you've been under so much pressure and anxiety trying to get this project done. And so what you actually need to do to physically rest is maybe go for a walk, go for a swim, maybe actually get on the mat and do some yoga. That would actually be physically restful, believe it or not. So physical rest is not just about laying down. So again, really understanding that your body feels taxed, and then really thinking about what it is that you need to actually bring your body back to balance. Intentionally resting your physical body can look like canceling plans, sleeping early, skipping the gym, or going to the gym and practicing yoga, foam rolling, receiving a massage, going for a light walk, or just simply drinking more water and hydrating those parched tissues, because high stress is also dehydrating. So sometimes it's just simple as like moving, lubricating your joints, and drinking more water. Sometimes you just literally need more lubrication because your physical body is just parched and stressed out. I think of resting, we think of literally just laying. Resting is not just about resting and doing nothing. Resting and recharging are synonymous to me. Resting is the same thing as recharging. It's the same thing as restoring. If you've been sitting all day and you're all stressed out and hunched over, go for a walk to actually restore your body, right? That is resting your body. Resting is also restoring. It's recharging. It's rejuvenating. That's why we rest. When you think of rest, resting is not just turning it down. It's also to refresh, to recharge, to restore, and to rejuvenate. All right, let's talk about energetic rest, the energetic body. Energetic rest is intentionally taking the time to bring your energy back up so that you can show up as your full authentic self. Key words, full authentic self. I want to really hone in on this because I think a lot of times we think that energy is just about being high. and bouncing off the walls and being on and yeah, here we go. Look, I'm so excited to see you. Like, that's not energy. That's something else, okay? We might think that that's what it means to be energetic. I think a lot of times we think being energetic means being up, 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 up. But that is not just what high energy means. To me, high energy means you show up fully as yourself. You show up without being compromised. It's not about having so much energy to bounce off the walls and to be on, but it's about being in your full integrity and that you're able to show up for everyone, including yourself, exactly as everyone deserves. Honest, loving, vulnerable, authentic, integrous. That to me is a high, full, energetic tank. Having proper energy means that you are fully showing up and present. You are present, you are certain, you are integrous, you are exactly who you say you are in every area of your life, right? There is an honesty, there is an authenticity through and through and through. You show up as your true self when you have a full energetic tank. Because think about it, if you are drained, you don't show up as your best self, right? If you're drained, you go to lunch with somebody and they don't get the best version of you. You're kind of distracted, you're on your phone, you're a little tired, your brain isn't really working that well, so you're kind of slow to listen, you're kind of slow to respond. Versus if you have a full tank, you're really present with them, you maintain eye contact, you're really happy to see them, you are fully yourself, you're honest with your responses, you're easily vulnerable and you're easily engaged. So it's not just about being high energy. How does intentional energetic rest show up? It can look like spending time alone, receiving services, eating a hearty meal, sleeping in, taking a day off from the gym, taking a bath, going for a walk, or just canceling your plans. Again, there's so many ways. There's no right or wrong way to refill your batteries. I'm just giving you guys some ideas. Mental emotional rest. Intentionally taking the time to create space and silence in your thoughts and feelings. Now, quick nuance. This is not about numbing out or turning off your thoughts and feelings. This is about actively decompressing yourself from processing or experiencing big feelings. Don't go out and be all social and go party. Instead, sit in a little bit more silence, get in your body, dance, stretch. Like, you notice that the first thing I said was get in your body to rest your mental and emotional mind. So again, it's not numbing out and sitting in front of the TV. It's intentionally getting in your body. Go for a walk, get in nature, sit alone, enjoy a meal, sing, do art, paint, do something creative, work with your hands so that you are purposely decompressing from the processing function, and instead you can go more into a creative function, more of a engaged function in your body. Walk in nature, be with nature without music, without more inputs. Spiritual rest is intentionally taking action that promotes peace of mind, ease, and trust in the process. This can look like taking the time to meditate, journaling, going on a retreat, spending time in silence, walking through nature, chanting, praying, doing yoga, receiving body work, sitting in front of an ocean, just watching the waves, watching a sunset slowly drop into the horizon, laying on a field of grass and listening to the sound of the birds and the wind blowing. Literally, this is not about nervous system regulation. This is about literally purposely drawing in more peace of mind, bringing more ease and calm to the heart and the soul and the body. So that is actually spiritual rest. You're actually, again, recharging and you're promoting that peace. This may overlap naturally with all of the other physical, energetic, emotional resting. The 5 layers of the body are not separate. We talk about them separately, but they're all interconnected. So you might go in with the intention of spiritual rest, but of course, naturally, as a side effect, you're going to naturally get that energetic and emotional and mental rest as well. So even though we're talking about these layers separately, they all obviously naturally affect and bleed into one another. Bliss rest. What is bliss rest? Bliss rest is not partying and doing drugs and going, oh my God, I love everybody. Okay, that's not what bliss rest is. Bliss rest is intentionally taking the time to internalize your joy and letting it sink in versus chasing or running after your bliss. This isn't about trying to activate your bliss and chasing after it, which is what a lot of us think it is. Sitting in the afterglow, taking the time to really internalize your joy, really letting it sink in, right? Instead of trying to chase more of it. Actually just being like, oh, that was so nice. Like, let me just like, just savor that. And knowing that that was more than good enough, knowing that that was a lot, and really fully taking that in versus just chasing after the next one. Bliss resting is really that moment, those times, those chunks where you're really taking the time on purpose to internalize. This looks like journaling, reflecting, talking it out in a session, visualizing, remembering what happened, right? There's this energy that's being created. There's this rejuvenation that's happening. You're absorbing the goodness that you experienced. So, just a few prompts to leave you with before we run off. When was the last time you intentionally rested? What layer of your body needs the most rest and why? Why does this layer need rest and how would it help you do more later?